Hey everyone, Jim T. Graham with RC Groups and FlyingGiants.com, and today is a very special live hangout. We're going to talk about Joe Nall topics, Joe Nall updates, being at Joe Nall, things you need to know if you're going to Joe Nall, things we've learned by being at Joe Nall, the enjoyment and love of Joe Nall. I've got it right here in my show notes. I'm going to talk about Joe Nall himself a little bit.
Yeah, we need to know a little bit more about Joe.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Nall has become a thing and not a person, and so I thought that we would talk a little bit about Mr. Nall and how the show was named after him and all that. But first, let's introduce my co-host, Mr. Matt Gunn. Matt, what's happening?
Not much.
I always make Matt laugh. That's the best part.
What did Jason say last time?
And Jason
Broughton.
Cole.
I think it was Broughton. Howdy, everybody.
Jason's
Broughton
going to
the
talk
fun
about
today.
what he might brought into Joe Nall this year with Ewans and Yawans.
How y'all doing, boys?
Ewans is a real word, right? I mean, I've heard
it's youngins.
It's kind of like you all.
Well, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all is an actual proper form of English. It's the ustedes in Spanish, y'all.
Okay.
I can never get my hat straight on this camera. It's always backwards to me.
It's kind of gangsta, so just keep it however you want.
I'm like Sean Spiker, you know. I just need to get a little sideways here.
Oh, nice reference. You are
Chris
very
Click.
Sean. You are very Chris Click at the moment, aka Chris and Sean combined.
Only dudes from California can be that cool. But we digress, which is something we're really good at, and I think really makes the show what it is. Okay, so nice hat. Is that the hat that you can order off FlyingGiants.com?
It is the same hat that you have on, minus the little thingy you have mounted there. So.
Oh, is it? Mine looks bluer, I think.
Is yours blue?
Yeah,
mine's
yours
black.
is black.
Okay, mine's black. Is yours say flex fit on the inside?
No, this is old school.
This one's so much cooler. This is the hat that you can get right now. How much is this one, Jason?
$19.99? $25?
It is well worth it. It's very nice hat, and it fits very well.
You know what's awesome about that hat is that wear it backwards. Let's see how it looks.
Oh, okay.
$22.50.
$22.50 is like bare minimum. Oh yeah.
Do I look like a line cook now?
What you need is your name, your username, right there on the back.
Yeah.
Embroidered.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a great idea.
Okay, before we digress anymore, let's just say if you go to Flying Giants and RC Groups, but we do a lot of Joe Nall updates, and we talk with the guys at Triple Tree. They're always hooking us up with the good info, and I have a screen right now where I can see my peoples as I speak, but what I'm going to do is go actually to FlyingGiants.com and look at some of the updates. I also have a list here. I made a list of all the things I could think of about Joe Nall and what you should know. So before we go to updates, I would like shared experience from you guys. So
Go ahead.
you're driving. Joe Nall for us, we're in Nashville. It's not a terrible drive. It's a 6.5 hour, maybe 7 hour drive. But the closer you get, the more out of town it feels. You know, it's not like you're getting to downtown Nashville or something like that. You seem to be going farther and farther away from civilization until finally you come to a railroad track that is raised up off the ground pretty high.
Yeah, it usually has a camper sitting stuck on it.
Teetering, right. The first time I pulled a trailer in there, I thought, really? Is this really going to work? And I did drag trowel right through the asphalt, but they seem to have that fixed now. So if you have a trailer, don't worry about the tracks. You can get across it. Then you're going to go down a little road, and it's going to say, watch out for horses. Have either of y'all ever seen a horse on that road?
No, I think it's
Not
just
once.
Maybe
That is
I
funny.
I don't know. I can't. Anyway, so you're going to go down that road, and you're like, am I in the right place? And then you'll see it.
Bam, off to the left.
The beautiful arches of Triple Tree. And there'll be a banner there letting you know where you're at and what event's occurring. But still, you'll be like, okay, I'm here, but where is it? So as you pull in, especially in the earlier years, there would be nothing around, just kind of grass and trees on each side of the single-lane road. And then it would happen. Matt, tell them what happens.
Oh, you talking about the top of the hill?
Yeah, when you top the hill.
Oh man, so last year was my very first ever Joe Nall, and it was incredible because of that reason right there. You go in and you start winding around, and you're like, "What's going on? Where's the people?" You see a sporadic camper here. You see a guy walking over here. There's a tent randomly out in a field, and then all of a sudden, oh, it opens up to the most beautiful pavilion at the top of the hill. And I got lucky. There was not, even though I was there right at 5 o'clock on Friday for the gate, there was nobody. There was not a huge backlog of people there. There was people coming in, granted, but I got up to the top, got my packet. It was awesome, totally awesome.
It's RV City, man.
Man, tell me about it.
And
so a lot of, yeah, go ahead.
It's a whole hillside of any kind of RV you can imagine, just rolling down onto the main line.
Mm-hmm.
And usually there's some airplanes in the air, so you can actually hear and see a few giant scale planes doing their thing up in the sky.
And it's actually a 3-sensory experience. You can hear, you can see, and then you can feel the Nall.
Are you talking about the dust from the road?
Yes, I'm talking about the dust from the road.
Usually early on,
there's
there's
to that. I still have dust from last year in my camping in stuff. There is that Nall silt. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's continue. Keep going,
But
Jim.
as you roll down the road, you'll start seeing people walking up the hill. And hello, it's the Joe Nall friendliness all of a sudden. Everybody's an RC brother out on Triple Tree, so there's a lot of helloing and waving, and people that you really do know are going to be out there. And then you pull up to the big booth where the Joe Nall staffers are signing people in and taking credit card numbers and doing their thing. And then once you get past the gate and you get everything you need, your pass or whatever, your thing to put in the window of your truck, then it's on, man. That's the RC Disneyland is open.
So let me explain my first experience. So after I got everything, I'm pulling my trailer, I'm in my Tacoma, I got my 6x12. I knew where I wanted to go. I wanted to go between two trees that were just wide enough to fit a hammock in case I wanted to swing it up there, right at the base of the lake, right on the lakeside facing the main line. So I pulled up, and sure as could be, but what happened was right after I signed in, I got in my truck, big, huge smile on my face. I'm like, I'm actually here at Joe Nall. I can't believe it. I can't believe I skipped it for so many years for other shows, you know? So you start going down the hill. On the right when you start going down that hill after the main pavilion, on the right is the food area and the vendor area. On the left is sort of a long sloping hill that leads down to the main line. This is obviously for people that have never been. And then it branches off around Mr. Pat's hangar. You can take a right there at the lake and kind of go up towards the general store. Or you can continue on past the lake, past the towards the electric line, and then you head on down to the 3D line. So right when I got to the bottom of the hill, past Mr. Pat's hangar, I found my camping spot that I had searched for in Google Maps. I staked it out mentally where I was going to go, and sure as shooting, it was right there, and I set up, and I couldn't have been happier except for the dust. Well, again,
you were right by the road, something to be aware of.
Man, I felt that was the most central location I could be. I mean, literally, you could see the main line.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah, you could see the main line. You could sort of see the distance of the electric line and all that sort of stuff. But I was right near the general store. I was right near Vendors Row. It was a literal walk right over to our tent and the Horizon booth and the Habaco booth and all the great booths that are there in front of the main line. It was a great spot, but I don't think I'm going to go for it again this year because of the dust. It was too much dust.
Let's talk about some of the camping areas that are available to you. So as you first come in, there is the wide open hills, and that will usually be open for the first few days. Here's the bad part about the hills is it's just about as far away from everything as you can get. This is initially when you drive in. The good news about the hills, and I don't feel like we're giving away any secrets here, is that's where the best reception for internet is.
It
So
is.
if
I'll
you're,
figure that out.
yep. Now, as you go on down, here's some new news. The little area behind Vendor Row. Let me get their verbiage exactly, because there's new things this year. We haven't seen it, so usually I can tell you exactly what I'm talking about. In anticipation of ever-increasing crowds, Mr. Pat and Uncle John set out to open up a whole new area for camping. The beautiful new area is located in the woods behind the vendor area. So it looks like they cleared out a hill back there.
Right on.
And it's good for the vendors, and it's also kind of a quiet place if you didn't want to be woken up by ripping engines or people driving down the road. That might be a good place to go.
Yeah,
And
that's going to be an interesting spot. I'm not going to want to be there, though. I need to be more centralized. But I hear you.
As we travel on down, on the right is where food vendors and all that stuff is, and they've changed Vendor Row. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then on your left is going to be the main line, and that's the original flight line for the whole dang show. And then you're going to get to the lake. Now, a lot of people like to camp around the edge of the lake because they're float flyers. You can go, there's a little road right at the front of the lake, take a right, and that can take you all the way down to the back of the lake. And I know people camp all the way back there.
Mm-hmm.
If you go past the lake, there's a road over the dam, and you can camp around the backside of the lake. That's always looked appealing to me.
Me too. Like on top of the dam?
Well, no, yeah, on the backside of the lake.
Right. I never see anybody there. In fact, toward the end of the week, there was a couple of sporadic vehicles that showed up there. That area is wide open, and you can see everything, especially in the evenings when they start night flying on the electric line. You could literally sit from up there, and it's such a beautiful view, and all 360 degrees aside, well, 180 degrees.
And then, if you don't like that, you keep traveling. Now, the electric line is new. We can talk more about the electric line when we get to the flight lines, but that people have been camping on the right side of the road there. Am I wrong? Did they open up the woods behind the electric line?
I think it looks like.
Yep, they opened it up a little bit last year, and with a bush hog, and it was all dirt. And then, because I knew a few guys that ended up there, and it was just dirt floor. Now they've opened it up more, and I think they've cleaned up the ground a little bit to make it less dirty. Maybe they've got some grass. Don't know for sure, but they've opened that up more.
Then you keep going, and now you're seeing the 3D line way far away off to your left, and you're on that little one-lane road where we golf carts need to pull over for the bus when it comes by.
And the water truck.
And water trucks and big trucks. And then you hook a left on the backside of the 3D line, and then the camping starts out in the trees and all behind the 3D line, and it goes pretty far back in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a slew of camping areas. All of this is primitive camping. They do have some non-primitive, but those spaces are usually reserved and gone way before now. So,
yeah, like 2004.
Yeah, not even an option at this point. So those are your camping options. You can RV it, which I've done. You can tent sleep it, which Matt Gunn has done. And you can also grab a hotel room in the Clinton area if you need some real showers and air conditioning at night.
So, it looks like we don't have Q&A. Do you want to get Q&A going? Somebody just responded to Nikolai just PM'd me and said Q&A isn't rocking.
Well, that's not good, but we can't turn it on now.
Okay,
Too late now.
Too late. Sorry.
It's usually auto turned on.
Anyway,
we'll find out later if there's no Q&A. If you
so,
do have
yeah,
any questions,
so I tent camp, and this year I'll be camping on the roof of my truck with one of those beautiful fold-out camps. I got a Smitty-built Overlander rooftop tent. It folds out like an accordion, and it's got a ladder going up to it. So I've got that on a roof rack on top of my truck, and it's going to rock, man. I'm so excited.
And if it rains, what do? You stay in the tent, or you get
I can stay in the tent. Now I'll have two pop-up tents also, a 10x10 pop-up tent, and then I have a smaller one. So, and then the pop-up tent has walls, full rainfly walls. So I got plenty of dry areas. I've been in the rain in that pop-up tent before, and it's dry as a bone inside. So, and then the tent has 2 layers. It has a rain fly over top of it, and it's also waterproof on both sides. So even if it's pouring rain, I'll be fine for sleeping in there.
One thing we would say is if you are sleeping in a tent, be sure to stake it down well, because more than a few people have had their tents not only blow, but go straight up in the air and fly through the air. And we've seen this happen with airplanes in the tents, and then when they came down, the planes were no longer in the same structure they were before.
Brutality.
Well, let's talk about Mr. Joe Nall before we get into the nuts and bolts about Joe Nall. Joe Nall and Pat Hartness met while attending Furman University in Greenville, South Carolina, and they shared an interest in aviation. They also shared an interest in radio control modeling. And so throughout their lives, they maintained their friendship and flew together full scale as well. And from 1982 until 89, Joe Nall was actually the master of ceremonies, the MC of, they called it then just the giant scale fly-in that Mr. Hartness held. And Joe died in 1989, and to honor him, Mr. Pat renamed the event Joe Nall. So that is the historical background of why Joe Nall is called what it is. So let's talk.
I didn't know that.
Let's talk about, and if you want to see a picture of Mr. Nall, you can go in the hangar and take a hard right. And there are many photos on the wall, and some of the photos up there are of Joe Nall. And
Cool.
other historical things that have happened over the years. So if you got a little day off, you need to go to the hangar anyway, because all the full-scale birds are up there. You want to check those out. But be sure to look on the wall as well and look at the pictures and kind of relive the past a little bit.
Hey, you know what area we didn't even discuss? 2 areas we didn't discuss. The control line area, when you were mapping it out, its location, and the new FPV area.
Well, let's do that now then. I have all the flight lines here in a list. I did leave out control line, I admit. So first is the main line. It is manicured golf grass. It's barefoot city. It's we counted one day the value of the airplanes just sitting on the grass, and it was over $2 million in a guesstimation of values.
It's crazy.
And so this is where the giant scale planes fly from, and it is pretty awesome. Anybody want to share how awesome the main line is?
I've flown on it. It's awesome. I took my Pawnee up. I had to do it. Had to be a part of that line. My Pawnee is big, you know. It is literally the smallest aircraft out there. When you're talking about planes that are worth $30,000-$40,000 each. How about like just the jets that are out there? It's just amazing.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. And then, you know, I'm never a big demo guy. If I'm at a show I want to fly, unless I'm covered in an event, then I am a demo guy. But the demo at Joe Nall is insane. You're going to see some amazing, gigantic, smoky, well-built, awesome craft.
Yeah, it's an actual air show. It's not like all the vendors that sponsored the show gets to come and fly something to show off their products. It's not that. It's an actual air show. Routines to music, some of the finest aircraft in the world that you'll ever get to see in person.
Finest
pilots. Amazing. Yeah, the finest pilots too. It's just stinking amazing.
The thing about Nall is the people that you read about or design the planes that you fly, there's a good chance they will be on the ground somewhere at this event. You might not see them because the dang thing's so big, but they're there.
That's the hard part, is that it's difficult to find people.
And we're going to talk about transportation, but first, the Q&A actually does work because we have a Q from Gap2 FG Granny, Gap2 Granny.
Gap-tooth Granny. I like it.
The question just went away.
It's up at the top. It's currently being answered.
By you. I can't see it now.
Oh. It says, will FPV wings be good to go at Nall?
What's the number one FPV rule at Joe Nall?
You don't you don't turn on your transmitter. You don't turn on your VTX without checking your signal first. You have to look in your receiver and see if anybody's on your signal before you fire it up.
I think it's have fun.
No,
that too.
Jason is wrong.
Hold on, I'm gonna get something. You stand by.
Your fun will
You're supposed to power on your transmitter, see if anybody yells, and if no, then you're good to go.
Well, first of all, there is an FPV line. Some people will not be happy about that. Some people will be ecstatic about it. But there is an FPV line, and it is away from all the other lines. And this year we're going to have some gates. RC groups will be bringing our FPV gates and feather flags. This is not about racing. It's about getting out there and giving it a shot and having a good time and trying. So
this is about racing.
Well,
there will be racing.
Here's my thing.
No doubt about it.
If your goal is to have fun with your FPV and you're down on the electric line and you decide just to turn it on and get going, that will be fun until the other guy decides he too will just turn on and get going, and then you both step on each other's video signal and you both plummet into a tree at 30 miles an hour. Because it will happen. Jason and I know.
Yep.
It will. It will.
There.
One day you're flying a quadcopter, and the next second you're in a scale warbird, and you don't know what happened.
My favorite was when I was racing. I was flying a quad for racing. I was flying around the course, and all of a sudden I'm looking at the back of this guy's ankles.
Oh man!
Turned on, sitting on the ground. I'm like, whoa, wrong.
What do you do in that situation? Just chop the throttle.
Chop the throttle.
Yeah, that's it. So here's one. I've challenged Jason to a Banshee race.
Yeah, baby.
Just a friendly Banshee race. This is my VAS Banshee, and this is a 94, 95 mile an hour wing, straight and level. And Jason's got one too. So we are going to have a little friendly race when we get there.
I was about to say ours look identical, but it won't really matter in FPV.
Right. This is the only differentiating thing on mine is the eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the FPV line will be run by Mr. Tim King Jr., Clint, and Steve, I'm assuming from Castle, are a part of this. And they will have it set up so you can get in on your frequency and make sure that everything's nice and straight. So if you want to fly FPV, head up to the FPV line and do that. And so
they made a good point. Tim made a really good point in the RC groups thread, and he said, make sure you have with you your frequency your button,
instruction manual.
Your instruction manual that says your frequency. So when they say don't use this frequency, use this frequency, you're not like, duh, I have no idea.
And that sounds like it would be, you would know exactly what frequency and all that, but it's not. Every one of those video transmitters is different.
That's right. That's right. And luckily, if you look here on this, here we are, the Dragon Rider Drac, which I have just an extra one sitting here. Look right on the back right there. Booyah. There you go. Channel 1 through 8, A through E. So I've always keep this in my truck along with my head play, so I know what to go to on the receiver too.
Looks like a pack of fireworks.
It does, doesn't it?
Let's talk about the electric line.
Where's the DLG line at Nall?
Yeah, well, that's to the right side of the electric line. Yeah. So the electric line is pretty new, comparatively speaking, to all the other lines, but every year it just gets bigger and bigger. It's pretty amazing, the growth. I remember the first year, no one was there. The second year, wow, and then last year it was just blown out full-time, nonstop.
They didn't have enough space for all the campers that wanted to park there last year. We had to like sort out spacing issues. So
and who knows how big it'll be this year
down there.
So that is something to take in consideration. You can fly your small, mid-sized electric birds on the electric line, and DLG is successfully flown on the right side, the very far right side of that line. Been doing it for a few years now.
Yeah, kind of near the that static P51 display or whatever that static full scale was there.
Kind of near the tower between the 3D line.
I can fly there or on the left side of the flight line too. There's that spot where I fly my paragliders. There's some open space there that's pretty much out of the way of the main electric flight path. So.
Jason and I are bringing paragliders, and so I guess we'll be flying them to the left side of the electric line around sunset each day.
Hey, I watched you guys do that paraglider review. That was awesome. I mean, well done. You guys nailed it with regards to, because I initially watching it, you took off for the first time, Jim, and she's going, woo, woo. And I'm thinking in my head, is he doing something with the elevator stick or throttle? Because I had no idea how to control them. Then you guys went in and explained it. So I want one. I want one. I want one. Hopefully there'll be one there, or I can fly one of you
Yeah,
guys.
man, you can fly mine for sure.
Okay.
All
cool.
we need are batteries. I need 3-cell 2700 or above, and
I
that'll
got plenty
get
of
us in
those.
business. And so then we talked about the main line, spectacular, a must-see. Probably once a day you need to go up there for the demo. Jason's still sleepy from Seth. He's yawning. And then you have the electric line, and the showiest, smokiest, most heart-pounding line there is has got to be the 3D line. There's hippies, there's OGs, you name it. They're down there ripping it up and tearing it down.
Ripping and a tearing. Ripping and a
tearing. And then there's water out there, so they'll get on that water and do low smoky hovers, and it's just beautiful and awesome. They have their own gazebo, and it's a great place to hang. It's a good, probably, if it were me, I'd probably head out there in the morning, hang out until the noontime demo, then walk up the hill.
Yeah,
I remember when that didn't exist, man, and people had to walk half a mile from the classic line to the lake when they wanted to dunk the tail. It was like a thing, you know. You had to set up and prepare for it. And I remember Jason Schulman fishing out of the lake with a giant scale 3D airplane and caught a fish.
Yeah, man. See,
Pretty
people
amazing.
don't know how good they have it right now. When you think back of how it was before, when you had, like you said, you had to hoof it just to go dunk your tail.
Yeah,
before
right there.
Now they have school buses that'll pick you up with volunteers who drive, and so you can catch a ride to the bottom and catch a ride to the top. But before the school buses were out, I put a trailer on the back of my old blue 30-mile-an-hour golf cart. Don't drive 30 miles an hour at Joe Nall. Mr. Pat will find you. Also,
he will find you, and he will hunt you down, and he will make you pay.
You'll never feel worse than Mr. Pat explaining why you're going too fast, or telling you that you should not ever again drive up the side of the dam of the lake. So don't do that either.
Is this first-hand experience there, Jim?
Oh, yeah, you know what? I've driven up the side of the dam. I've driven up that damn dam.
Did you drove it up it? Did you brought in something with you when you drove it up
I brought in a golf cart, and I drove it up the damn dam, and you know what? I did not get a caught.
Well,
I like the cart path behind the lake, personally.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
For driving the cart. You can go as fast as you want. Put it in neutral, go down the hill. See where you stop.
What are you talking about?
The cart path behind the lake.
It's like an
off-road course.
Off-road trail for golf carts.
You're talking about the golf cart track behind the vendor road.
Yeah.
Behind
it comes out to the lake.
Technically, that is behind the lake, yes.
Yeah.
Be careful on that. If you go off-road, do it at your own peril, and don't go too fast because you never know what's around the next corner.
I say just put it in neutral because the engine slows you down, man. I'm going downhill.
Pink flamingos are back there, aren't there? Those lawn flamingos? You guys, you remember that?
I never know what you can find back there.
I've been there in the middle of the night and found a truck in the middle of the road. So that could happen. So be careful. So what I'm trying to say, I'm going to cap this off here.
No, we're doing good. Just keep it going.
Don't litter. Don't drop your cigarette butts.
Cardinal sin.
Don't leave your water bottle laying around, especially on the demo line. Don't drive up the back of the dam. Don't go too dang fast. And just assume Mr. Pat is watching you. Mr. Pat is the guy who maintains this property. Yes, sir?
Yeah, there was a problem last year. I'm sure there's a problem every year. There was a problem last year where there were kids, like we're talking under the age of 16, kids on four-wheelers that were going way too fast. And there'd be like 4 of them, 2 of them on the handlebars, 2 sitting backwards on the gun rack or whatever on the back of a big Kodiak quad or something, a four-wheeler. And, man, they were cooking. And I actually heard that in the forums afterwards, that people were complaining about the children going too fast because it's like the adults sort of understand.
Sorry, guys, that was me.
Yeah.
I have the face of a small child.
Yeah, you do, brother. How old are you, like 60? Are you like Ralph Macchio?
I heard that you eat tulips, and that's why you stay so young-looking.
I never had a four-wheeler when I was young, so when I got it at Nall, I just went all out.
Man, a boy.
Well, I'd say
speed limit was always something I noticed that people were cooking, especially in actual vehicles, cars going back and forth.
Well, be careful.
I bought a motorcycle at Joe Nall one year. I don't know if Jim remembers this, but when we went as Hobby Lobby, in the middle of the town, there was like a scooter mini bike store.
Yeah, and it was Christmas that
Yeah.
day, and we were all looking at what we might buy to drive at Joe Nall.
And you bought one?
I went in there and I bought a little 50cc mini dirt bike.
Oh, cool, man.
And,
Where is it? Did you leave it?
I ended up selling it like a couple years later at Nall. So I drove it around a couple years at Nall.
Hey, you
And,
you guys saw my mini bike, right? I sold that.
Oh yeah. Oh, you sold it.
Dang,
Yeah.
man. Selling
Yeah.
all the good stuff. I hope
It
you're
was-
replacing it with good stuff.
I don't have. All I got's a golf cart this year. I don't have any cool transportation. So, well, no, the golf cart's cool. We can't
there's-
talk about it, but the golf cart's cool this year.
There's nothing better than the golf cart for hauling gear and picking up people. I don't know if I finished this story, but
I'm sorry.
when the before the school buses were running, I put a trailer behind my golf cart, and in that I screwed in a picnic table. I put tiki torches on all the corners, and
Cool.
I had a guy riding in the golf cart who played electric guitar. I'm not kidding you. The whole show, every day, nonstop.
It was awesome.
So
I
would
remember
drive.
that.
If I was going somewhere and you were walking, I would just pull over and start loading people up on the golf cart. And we did this the whole show. It was awesome.
That does sound incredible. Now, people were sitting in the
They
at
would,
the picnic table.
On the picnic benches, yeah.
Like,
So was
climb
there
up and-
anything underneath them?
yeah, it was the floor of the.
Okay,
trailer.
so their feet weren't Fred Flintstoning. Like they weren't dragging. They weren't, but sideways. Like everybody's ankles are twisted.
We need a pedal tavern at Joe Nall this year.
Ooh, that'd be
Oh my
hard.
God. You want to talk about people not wanting to get on something?
You'd only make it down the hill. You'd never make it back up.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about the water line. So I think that lake, I don't actually know how big it is. How many? Excuse me. How many?
It's many acres. I don't remember how many, but
Let's
it's
just
a
call it
lot bigger than you think because it kind of doglegs around the
Yeah,
backside.
it's between lake and pond. It's definitely just about a lake.
And
it's,
so
it's seriously a lake, yeah.
as long as the weather works, there's people flying small craft and gigantic RC aircraft off that lake and boats. It's
I think technically, maybe it's changed, but I think technically during the normal operating hours, it's supposed to be giant scale only.
Ah,
And then
Really?
after hours 5 and on, you can fly anything.
Really?
But
I never
that used
knew
to be
that.
the case. I don't know if it's changed or not.
Everything was flying, man, like nonstop. There was, in fact, I never saw a flight line boss. It's just do your own thing. There were RC boats. Obviously, the boats were staying out of the way of the landing and departing RC airplanes, but there were boats on the water. There were airplanes. There were foamies. There were big and small. I think you're right, though, Jason. When the big boys were playing, all the little stuff sort of was being nice and gave way. You know.
Yeah.
So, I'm on a cool spree. I got to show you guys the coolest float plane you'll ever see.
Matt Gunn is on a cool spree.
We're just waiting music. Here we go.
All right. Okay, this is the most beater airplane you will ever see in your entire life.
Seawind.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see if we can get it on here. So, this thing has been through the ringer.
It looks like it.
It is my very first. This is my second airplane I ever purchased when I got into the hobby, back in 2006, 2007. I think this thing was fresh. I mean, look at it. It's got holes in it. It's got, I don't know what's going on the back here, but it flies so well. So I'm bringing it. There you
I
go.
love that airplane. I'll buy it when you decide to sell it.
And then the last but not least, Jason, one other airplane I'm bringing, and I will stop hogging the show here. Is Jason? You remember this?
Oh yeah, man. Kyosho.
Yeah. Yep. So this airplane has a nice little history. This was the second airplane I ever did a review on when I joined RC Groups, and I asked Jason for it because Jason worked at Hobby Lobby. And I said, Jason, I want this plane. And he sent it to me. And I still have it. And I don't really have a lot of planes from a long, long time ago because they all
really.
crash. The only thing that ever happened was a bad hand launch by B.S. Bowman.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you'll see right there. but it's got the little hooks in the back right here. It's got a little.
Are you taking this airplane to Joe Nall?
You better believe it, Bubba.
All right.
So I just wanted to show, because I'm packing lighter this year. I'm not bringing...
show us your control line airplane. Have any of y'all done the control line? The control line is set up.
I want to do it this year. You have to make me do it.
He invited us up there.
I probably won't have time, but I want to get down there. I've always wanted to do it. I did it as a kid with my dad with an F-16 nitro-powered 049 Cox deal.
Oh yeah, Cox.
And I have that memory from being a kid doing it. It's like that's the only time I ever have tried it. So I definitely want to do it.
Well, everyone go try it. I don't know if there's a certain time when there's people out there or not, but I know that they have planes that you can try.
Yeah, they do. They have a line you can go sign up and they'll let you take turns. I believe they're using electric versions.
I'm afraid
they've got a guy helping and telling you what to do and kind of walking you through it.
And then finally, for our heli freak people, there is a heli line, and that is definitely run by Castle and Steve and Clint.
Oh yeah.
So that is right at the top of the hill as you're coming into the facility on your left-hand
Pretty
side.
much adjacent to the FPV stuff, right?
I can't see it in my head where they put FPV.
Me neither. I'm having a little
It's the same spot as last year. You remember how last year they had a couple of gates up?
No, I don't.
I don't.
So
I don't even remember a single
It's like
gate.
it's between the helis and the classic line, and it's just to the right side of the end of the heli area. And they had a couple of gates, and guys were flying some racers and stuff through last year.
Okay.
So Ready Made RC's going there. I don't know if they're bringing the wagon. I know Alec is going. I think Joe Estes is going.
Love Joe Estes.
Yeah, he's a hoot. So, but last year they were down literally across from the entrance to the control line. So they were right there. So they flew their FPV on the grass right in front of the Ranger Tower, of that tower that's there. Yeah, that was where
we flew a little FPV. I was thinking, Jason, we were flying a wing out there, and I said, this is what I want. And then I just realized that wing I just built is what I said I wanted last year at Joe.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to bring my wing, and then I'm going to bring my big paraglider and Max the pilot. Mm-hmm. And I'll probably bring one more thing just that'll be fun to fly. But let's talk about Vendor Row. One thing you need to bring is cash money. There's two reasons for this. One is food and water and ice.
Yeah.
To date, you can't buy ice unless you have cash. Better put this on my list because I never bring it.
Don't
you leave it at room temperature, it turns into water, and then you have water too. It's crazy. It's like a dual diversity type of fluid. So, but there is ice and there's hamburgers, and you got to have food for the hamburgers. And one day, I guarantee it, you may be like me. Watch this. It's coming. You may carry around peanuts everywhere you go. That's true. I do it. I keep it in my hotel room, keep it on my desk, and that works. But one day you're going to be like, I need a hamburger, man. And just walk up the hill there by the vendor area and get yourself a hamburger. But you really need money for Vendor Row. And after several months of grading, irrigation lines, electrical connections, new vendor area is twice the size of the old one. And they're going to have many, many, many new vendors. And many of their old friends will be there too. So I'm excited to see the new Vendor Row.
Me too.
Excellent. And then I'm also excited to see the education buildings. And this is something I think that Pat and all the folks have been really working hard so that they can give back to the kids, the future of our hobby, with the educational buildings, and I'm betting money they will. I'm looking at a picture right now of them drywalling the interior, but I bet by the time we get there, they will have something for us to see.
I hope so.
And one more thing, Jason, I might need you to help me chime in on this. Joe Nall Triple Tree used to be owned by Pat Hartness. Pat realized at some point that he was not going to live forever. Just like all of us at some point in time will expire and spin the mortal coil. So his question was, I wax poetic. His question was, what will happen to the land and the property if I'm not here to protect it? And so he basically gave the property to us, the RC pilots. It's no longer in the family. It's out of the family. And so it's up to us to donate, maintain, whatever it is that they need, it's up to every one of us to do what we can for that property to make sure that when we're gone and spun the mortal coil, that it'll still be there for my kids and my kids' kids. And when you go to the educational building, some of these other places, I'm sure there'll be information up there that will tell you how to donate and be a part of this and make sure it keeps going for many decades in the future.
Yeah. It's awesome. Last year, didn't we run? We ran a couple of cool contests between RC groups and Flying Giants. That if you volunteered your time, you were given X, Y, and Z. We had T-shirts we were giving out and stuff like that. It was really cool.
Well, let's talk about T-shirts.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't know. We've done it forever. We've always done it, and each year the question is, what are we going to do this year? So behind me, mixed with guitars and my
samurai swords,
things like that, are just a small smattering of the shirts that we're bringing with us. In fact, in our last trip to Seth, Jason turned around. I drive a Ford Excursion, the largest SUV ever made, and he said,
the largest and most active.
I said that my SUV was right on enthusiasm, and it got 100 miles to the gallon. But he said, where are we going to put all these shirts? And I'm like, they'll fit back there. So we're bringing the most Flying Giant shirts that we've ever brought in the history of FG. And we're also bringing, probably, I have to assume, the most RC group shirts. In fact, we've kind of been hoarding RCG shirts to take to the event. So if you're listening right now, your question is, Jim, how perchance could I get one of those free shirts? And the way to do that is to go to, on Thursday, the gazebo on the 3D line. The reason we're doing it on Thursday, Jason, I know you're wondering why right now.
I was.
Wednesday's kind of a tradition, but a lot of people don't get there on Wednesday. But most people are there that are going to be there by Thursday. And so Thursday, oh, man, I believe the time, please don't quote me. I haven't written the article yet. I believe the time is 11 a.m., 11 in the morning on Thursday at the gazebo. We'll be handing out shirts. It's first come, first serve. Last year we tried to distribute them each day, and some people didn't like it that way, so we're going to go back to the old way. So Wednesday, 11 a.m., gazebo, 3D line, FG shirts.
Thought you said Thursday.
Yeah.
Damn it.
You just said Wednesday.
Rewind. Thursday. Thursday is the day. Yes.
And there will be no double shirts handed out. You will not get 2 shirts for your wife or child back in Tecumseh. You can't do it. We're not giving out double shirts. Everybody gets 1. Right?
Matt will enforce that.
Oh, yeah. There's always, in fact, I mean, you can't, I'm not blaming people, but there's always people that are like, can I get another one, please? Well,
It's always a good time. We have a big line. We have the whole team there. Miss Ashley will be giving these shirts out with us, so it'll be rock and roll, good time, fun. And then you can wear them on Friday or Thursday or whenever the heck you want to wear the shirt. Then we're doing it at 11 because the demo will start occurring on the top main line. That's why we're doing it a little bit early. And so then we'll head on up to the top. And the thing that we're there for, really, Jason, Matt, myself, Miss Ashley, are to shoot photos, shoot some videos, and just broadcast this event out to everyone who can't be there. People rely on us to see what they're missing.
Yeah, we are there to kill it with coverage.
And we do it every year, and we do it in different ways. Every year we tweak how we do it just a little bit. I know we're going to change things up just slightly this year, and it's always interesting to see how that goes. And but the main goal is to make sure every day you're getting good content and really seeing what's going on the ground at Joe Nall.
As the dog barks in the background.
That's a Team FG RC Group.
Way downstairs, you can still hear that. That's crazy.
And then the RC Group shirts are yet to be determined on when we're giving them away. Maybe we give them away later in the day on Thursday on the electric line. So I think that's the way to go. So just stay tuned. We'll have a feature article on FG about the shirts, and we'll have a feature article on RC Groups about how to get a shirt there as well.
The shirts are awesome. I designed them.
Well, yeah. Of course they're awesome then.
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to talk about what the heck? I'm looking at the wrong list here. I'm glad I didn't read that list to everybody. I want to go over a list, and I didn't ask you guys to do it because I want you to do it off the top of your head. things you must take and not forget when you're going
Jason,
to Joe Nall.
go.
Sunscreen, chapstick, shorts, spare underwear, spare socks, spare shoes, anti-monkey butt powder,
Really?
hats, mascara,
Oh, dude, now you're killing me.
foundation.
No, you're moving off our demographic here. There's not one woman watching this podcast.
No.
Well, I had a list, and now it's totally gone.
I'll give some things that okay, a couple of extra towels. Those are what I brought only one towel last time. And
Tell us about the showers. How the heck does that work?
Oh, yeah. Shower shoes. Bring your shower shoes. You do not want to be barefoot, even though they are, I mean, believe me, they're incredibly clean showers. But after a week of dudes and dudettes, showering off, you do want to wear. Now, the floors are wood, and the water goes through. They're huge shower stalls. Huge shower areas, private stalls, very hot water, which is totally awesome. You got to have nice hot water. There's little platforms within each stall to put your dry clothes on while you're showering. You don't have to worry about stuff getting wet.
But you need shampoo, conditioner, soap.
Bring your shampoo. Bring your your washcloth or loofah or whatever the heck you want to use. Bring all your standard shower stuff, because nothing is there for you, and you do not want to grab that random bar of soap that's sitting in there in your stall. But there can be. Now, here's what I figured out. If you go to shower first thing in the morning, or like right when it starts getting dark and everybody's going to shower, the water pressure goes down a little bit, the hot water goes down a little bit. You're fighting because all the people are. It was a constant battle to constantly adjust the hot and cold. Either you're getting scalded or you're getting frozen. So you got to try to shower on the off times.
And do you go up there in a bathing suit or something? What do you wear to go to the?
Well, what I do is because it's nice and warm, so I'm in my shower shoe flip-flop. I just wear my flip-flops, take the golf cart, get a backpack, and put all your clean clothes in the backpack, right? Your towel, your clean clothes, and your shampoo all in a backpack. Wear your shower shoes, go straight to the shower, go in there. You can do your little dance where you stuff everything, all your dirties in a bag, and do your thing, man, and then you're done, in and out in 10 minutes. So it's a really nice facility. Now, there are showers next to the general store, and there are showers down at the 3D line. And there's also, if you didn't know, there are also pay washer and dryer.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but it was always in use the entire time I was there, the washer and dryer. Now, it's down by the 3D line behind the shower stalls. It's outdoors, and it was constantly in use. I never got a chance to use it.
When I was at Toledo, I had a guy talking to me when I was in the urinal. Does that ever happen to you at this show?
We talking about me standing next to you?
Oh, yeah, that was you. Never mind. Obviously, that happens. And just FYI, if you're an RC Groups person, check this out. What? That's right.
Is that our new shirt?
I don't know. Could be.
That's a nice blue.
That's what you're going to get or not.
Shirt. Yeah. Can we show the Flying Giant shirt? No.
No. Not at all.
Negative. It's
one thing that you need, and I bring two, is a hat. The sun, getting sunburned, sun in your eyes. If you're flying, keep the sun out of your eyes. And finally, skin cancer. Because I've been going to this event for more than a decade, and I would think that I would be a great candidate to have something pop up that I didn't need to want. And so I wear my hat and my sunscreen and all that good stuff. The other thing you need are more than one pair of shoes. You need two pairs of shoes, and I bring I wear boots, but I bring 2 pairs of boots, and I bring rain boots. Because when it's wet, the very last thing you want to do is wear your good boots and get them sopping wet, and then just have to deal with it until they dry.
How do I look?
Dude, you look like what's his name from Caddyshack?
Yeah, this is my Joe Nall hat.
Do you wear sunglasses? Because I want to see you in the shades too.
Yeah, I don't have my sunglasses with me. I also have this one too, which is my
I think you should wear those headphones at Joe Nall with this
at all
outfit.
time, like I'm talking to somebody in the air, like some sort of ground control.
I'm going to give you another tip that you're going to thank me for later. Go to Walgreens and buy a rechargeable LiPo recharge pack for your whatever that has a USB port on it. And then when you're in the pasture somewhere and your phone's about to die, you can just plug it into this thing in your pocket, and then you still have juice on your device.
And don't forget the chargers for your flashlight batteries, like I did at Ceph.
Yes. So I just put a review out, and I am going to promote it one more time. This
yeah, the Phoenix.
This is the little Phoenix PD35 960 lumen light. You definitely could fly an airplane off of this, drive a golf cart off of this, which we did at our golf cart had headlights, but they didn't work at our last event. And so I wear it on my belt, and then I have a big one too that you could fly. Literally, I could spotlight up the hill with my big flashlight.
If anybody wants to fly at night without lights on their airplane, we can spot it with those things. It's
cool, man.
We're your crew.
Hey, speaking of, let's talk about the nightlife, man.
Oh, wait. Before we go to nightlife, I have to acknowledge, and should have right off the start, our Flying Giants event coverage sponsor, and this ties into the nightlife, Extreme Flight RC. Is
sure does.
Extreme Flight RC. Last year we made the big announcement that Extreme Flight and 3D Hobby Shop merged, and so that was a big deal. And this year they are actually the event coverage sponsor for Flying Giants at the event. And we actually have some feelers out on RC Group's event coverage sponsor for Joe Nall. So if you're interested in that, no one's confirmed yet. You can shoot me a PM or something. But,
I'm going to PM you right now. I'm interested.
Awesome. And so let's talk about the nightlife. First of all, do have a light. Don't hurtle through space in your golf cart in the darkness, because in the old days that might have worked, but Joe Nall's thick as thieves, full of pilots and things, so you want to always see where you're going.
Yeah, I have a headlamp. I got my total nerd core headlamp that I got on, and I love it, man. Yeah.
I'd buy that.
So we never really. That's another thing to add to the list. Like you just said, flashlights. A headlamp is also good. Things to get around at night with. Coolers for your.
Always bring a cooler.
Coca-Colas.
It should go without saying, but that never works. But every place I go to, especially when it gets hot, let's talk about getting hot.
Well, before we go there, I picked this up today.
Yeah.
This is an awesome folding.
It's like a
utility
droid
cart that I got from Dick's Sporting Goods per Matt Gunn. He had this at Toledo show, and it was awesome. But it's lightweight. It folds up really small, and you can haul all your gear. So if you got a bunch of boxes and planes and things you need to haul from your camping site to the flight line, just throw them in this cart and just roll it on down. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
You don't have to make multiple trips.
And if you're hauling like an airplane, like a float plane or something, you want to keep it safe, you can quite easily build a little PVC cradle that fits over the top, and you can fit your airplane on it safely.
Yep.
I've seen all sorts of different styles that people do, but it's a great little folding cart. You picked it up for $50, man.
I did. So I looked on Amazon, and these things were like selling for $70, $80, $100, and I was like, man. I was like, so I asked you like where you got yours, and you said Dick. So I went over there today, and $49. I was like, that's
Quest.
awesome.
Yeah, the brand is Quest, and they have them in different colors and stuff like that. So
yep.
I decided I needed one after going to all the indoor fly-ins, the Horizon Indoor and the and eFest. Everybody has them because you have to make multiple trips from the parking lot to inside.
Yep.
And the guys with the folding carts usually make one trip. So.
And you can put your ice chest in here. So this is very important. I went a couple of years ago, and it was super humid, super hot, and I always think that I'm bigger than the weather, and the weather got me. I was down for about a week after Joe Nall, and I don't know if it was heat stroke or what, but you need, especially if it's really hot, if it's sweaty hot, you need to have a bottle of water in your hand all the time. That's
don't get behind the curve. I got behind the curve too last year and tried to all at once rehydrate, and that was the worst experience ever. And
one thing I see is people think that drinking a Mountain Dew is a form of hydration. I know because the year that I went down was when I only bought Mountain Dew, and Mountain Dew does not rehydrate you. It's full of salt and sugar, and it is not the best way to put moisture back into your body. So make sure you're drinking water.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and just in case you don't know, if you're there and you think, do I have heat stroke? If someone's talking to you in English and you think they're speaking a foreign language, happened to me at a discus launch gliding event, then you have heat stroke. When people are no longer making sense but they're still talking, you should probably sit down, get some water, and stop for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Hey, speaking of, bring chairs. Bring lots of chairs. Bring folding chairs.
Don't be afraid to sit down and take a nap.
And another reason is you might be pulling up at somebody's place, and they might say, hey, would you like a rib or perhaps a beer? And the worst is doing that and not having a chair. So it's always best to have your own dang chair when you're being invited to someone's place.
I'd say that's a good assessment. Yeah.
Okay, so no one knows this yet, and it hasn't been posted, but I don't think that my conspirator is going to be upset that I let this go. We're having a contest, a Joe Nall contest. I would say in the next day or so, the thread will be live on Flying Giants, and it is with MKS Servos, Thomas. Matt Gunn does the best Thomas impersonation. Can you give me a little Thomas from MKS, Matt?
Oh, Matt Gunn, you dog.
So Thomas ran into us at Toledo. He said,
I'm so embarrassed.
He said, I want to do a contest with Flying Giants at Joe Nall Gym. What should we do? Only he would say it like this. Matt, you do it.
Oh, Jim, we've got to do a contest, you dirty, scurvy dog.
That's good. So we put our heads together, and here's the contest. It's going to be in a thread. It'll be laid out there, but I just am consider this a teaser. There are going to be MKS stickers at the Chief Aircraft booth and at the 3D RC Hobbies booth. Chief will be in the vendor forum. 3D RC Hobbies will be on the electric line. Go over there and get yourself an MKS sticker. Now, Thomas and I have made sure that there are plenty of stickers to be had, but you still want to get there early. I would hate to get there and there not be any stickers. You're going to take this sticker and stick it on something that you own. I don't want you sticking it on something that will get you in trouble or would not be cool, but stick it on anything. Your forehead, maybe your rudder, your transmitter case, your truck window of your truck would be awesome, and take a picture and then submit that to the thread, and you're entered to win, and we have 3 servo sets we're giving away.
Those MKS servo sets are choice.
I can pull this up right now and tell you exactly what the potential winning might be for you.
I hope this contest is still on after me impersonating.
Well, I'm sorry, Matt, you're not eligible for the contest.
I don't know if we're close enough.
Impersonators are not eligible. So the HV 777, we're giving away 2 sets of those, and by set I mean you'll get 5 of these servos if you win, and we're doing that twice. And then one of them will be for the most creative submission. One of them is a random winner, and then we're going to pick one more random winner, and you're going to get 5 HV 1220 servos. And I was looking at the price of these things. I can tell you, the HV 777s are $106 a piece.
Ooh, that's a big winning.
And the HV 1220s are $89 a piece. So this isn't any kind of small prize. This is real deal winnings.
No, yeah, you're right. And that's the worst part about, not the worst part, that's one of the most expensive parts about outfitting your giant scale plane is servos. So
and if you don't put a good one in there, what happens?
Well, you have to outfit everything all over again.
No, you lose your dang airplane. It could cost you everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like marrying the wrong woman.
You could lose everything.
You got to pick them right.
Cost you everything.
Take you right out of the air. So that should go up. I'm looking at the post right here. It's beautiful. I even put a creation that I made in Photoshop of a creative way to use a sticker. That's my favorite part about the whole post. So keep your eye out for that. Thanks to MKS Servos, who is a great sponsor of FlyingGiants.com. We appreciate that, as is 3DRC Hobbies and Chief Aircraft. And so that all is going down. I hate to say this, but I'm at the end of my list, guys.
Do what?
I'm at the end of my list of everything I wanted to talk about.
Well, it's been an hour.
Yeah. Oh wow. Straight up.
Hey, we never did talk about the dust. Let me tell you what not to do.
Yes.
Don't camp out right against the main drive. You're asking for trouble. I mean,
It's
sometimes you have to, but when the wind starts blowing and there's 200 cars every 5 minutes, vehicles going flying past, and they can't stay on the road anymore because there's so much traffic, so they start going off into the on the side of the road,
right.
and it turns to silt. All of that dust and silt will enter every single thing that you have set up. I mean, if you have your windows of your vehicle cracked to keep some of the
Yeah. The heat.
the heat, everything on the inside will have a fine layer of silt on it. All of my airplanes that I had out were just covered in brown dirt, everything. So just be prepared for that. I am setting up away this time from the road.
And you personally, the first day of dust, not that bad. The second day of dust, not that bad. The third day of eating dirt for 3 days straight, you definitely feel it. I mean, it's in your nose and your
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, and you know what else we didn't discuss that got me hardcore? Chiggers. Yeah, I took my shoes off and sat down Indian style on the floor and on the grass on the main line. By the time I got back into, actually just not even before I left yet, I had welts all over my ankles, and it took weeks for that. I had
Yeah.
hundreds of chigger bites all over me.
I was gonna say, luckily, they go away in about 4 weeks.
Hey, we got a question from Eagle Tree.
John.
So
Jim
when
and I
are you
gets
guys
down,
arriving?
Yeah, so Jim and I will get down there Tuesday, May 10th.
But we have Matt will be on the ground Monday, and we have Miss Ashley going down even much earlier than that. So if I've got a secret photographer on the grass that
Right now.
yeah, they're there now. They're hiding on the creek behind. But we will be having, if I handle everything just right, we'll be having daily photo coverage coming out from the moment the gates open up.
Jim T. Graham,
That's what they call me.
are we making a special trip to Charlotte before we head down and all?
I don't know. Let's talk about that after. But I have considered it. So
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
let's just say it involves a little bit of shooting.
Oh, lucky ducks.
Yeah, we'll see. But what else? One thing I did leave out. First of all, thanks to Mr. I should have said this at the beginning. Thanks to Mr. Pat and the whole Triple Tree crew. This is but 1 week out of a year, and these folks work hard all year long to make sure that everything looks great, is functioning right, and is ready for us. And literally, everyone will go in there and destroy the place. I mean, that's part of the deal. The grass is going to get chewed up and things like that. But and this isn't the only event, of course, at Triple Tree. They have events for full-scale airplanes. They have electric fly-ins. They have heli events. They have FPV events. So there's events all year long at Triple Tree. It is a important part of our hobby and a place that we need to treat with respect and take care of as stewards of Triple Tree. And once again, just for the RC pilots that aren't even born yet, that will be there one day taking our place when we're the old guy that can barely make it to the flight line.
Yeah,
I would dare say it's the finest facility in the world for what we do, so we definitely want to take care of it.
It's also the largest RC event in the world, bar none. And there are large events out there, but they're not open to almost every facet of the hobby the way Triple Tree is. And just so you know, if you're new, well, I have two things to say. One is the motto there is fun, fellowship, and hospitality. So keep that in mind as you're walking around. No one's a stranger. If anyone needs help, just get ready to give it to them. And B, it just blows my mind when Jason and I go to our local airfield, and I overheard two guys talking about what events they were going to, and they were debating about going to Joe Nall, and I took it upon myself to step between them and say, you have to go to Joe Nall. There is no debate. There's nothing to discuss. There's no pros or cons here. This is the wildest, biggest, most awesome event you'll ever go to in your whole life. Whatever it is you think you might want to go to that, but you have to go to Joe Nall.